Okay, all the key people in place. This doesn't become official until we have the secretary recording notes. Thank you for that. I'd like to thank all the volunteers who helped us set up at the beginning. It was a bit of a challenge, but we made it on time. I'd like to thank Alejandro for handling our screening and solving our wireless connections and getting us a nice campus. I'm Robert Doyle. I am recently become the chair for LD10. I am also a resident of the Sunnis Precinct, which is where we're at right now. So thank you for making the trek to the northern edge of Mesa and civilization. We're going to have a busy meeting, so we won't, I'll try not to talk very much. Could we have everyone's attention? Yes, Mark.
I gotta move your van. It's blocking someone to get keys.
Thank you, Mark. I guess that parking, no parking zone. So let's go ahead, Alejandro, and we'll go right to the Pledge of Allegiance. Could we please stand for that?
Here it is.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes, amen. It would be nice if those words were appreciated more people. Thank you for tonight for taking time out from your schedule. And what did we put? There was a, let's see what the next part is.
Cheers, welcome.
That's what I've just done. I just did it in 5 seconds. One of the things we're trying to enhance from being involved in LD10, and a lot of people don't really understand the value of being involved in district level politics or the importance of being a precinct committee person. It's one thing to want to go on marches or support a candidate. This is where the foundation of the Democratic is built, is this kind of commitment. And it is a commitment because it's going to be more than a few hours a month. It is year-round. This board didn't stop after the last election. It was just kept going, trying to build. And part of that building process is we're going to do more on education that is bringing up the essential tools that will make your life easier and help our candidates who have been hit by this surprising move up of the deadline by 2 weeks. As a candidate 2 years ago, I would have lost my mind. I would have been having panic attacks, waking up every morning doing it. So we definitely need to help. And one of the things you can do, even if you're not directly involved in the mechanics of the district here, is we're going to show you how to do it online through the equal system. And this is something, it should be easy enough to remember that you can show your neighbors. That, they say, oh, yes, I would like to sign that candidates or all the candidates' petitions. You can show it to them. It's very, very fast. And then you can also support those candidates running clean elections. And Michelle will help us. We'll explain the whole clean election system. So I'm going to turn this over to Michelle McNeil. we're gonna do that later on. We're actually gonna do that as a sort of a little commercial break. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to actually, one of the things about being involved, I guess with the gym, I guess it's the joke. Things are never quite totally organized. It's true of any group. But one of the things we are is flexible. So there's going to be a change in the agenda. And we're now going to talk with Martha McCoy, who has led the Precinct Committee drive. It's been a huge amount of work. And taking care of candidates' petition, all those petitions back there should gather together. So people who aren't comfortable about going online can still go by paper. It's just faster for the candidate. But you also should know how to equal, so you can show your friends when you're distant away from a candidate. You can help all the candidates that you're available to help. So we're showing you the paper technology and the modern technology, but the paper technology, a lot of people still want to do. So I want to give you Martha McCoy, one of our most valuable board members.
Well, I only have a couple of announcements. I have a sign-up sheet for those people who are willing to drive candidates, and I see candidates who need driving. We're in a time crunch for them to get their signatures on their petition because the Arizona State Legislature, in their ultimate wisdom, moved it 2 weeks forward, which means the candidates need their signatures 2 weeks earlier. They also need their $5 contributions if they're participating 2 weeks earlier. So what I'm going to do is I have a sign-up sheet for those people who are willing to drive. If you have a golf cart, that's even better, because take it from someone who suffers from sciatica. It's easier to get in and out of a golf cart. And it goes faster, especially in a plus 55 neighborhood, a trailer court. You can do twice as many. So come see me if you're willing to drive a candidate and if you have a golf cart. Second thing, any amount of work that you've done already, you can turn into me. And the reason is that all of the candidates need to have their petition signatures verified. Make sure they're in the right district and in the right county and things like that. And the quicker that I get them, the quicker that we can get them verified and back to the candidate. So see me if you have stuff that you're ready to turn in. The third announcement that I want is if you have a pulse and you live in District 10, please become a precinct committee person. And I have the paperwork at the back. So please come and see me. Thank you.
Michelle, we'll now go on to the equal and 5x5 initiative, and I need to take care of a little technical problem.
Can we advance?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. We're using line of sight because the Wi-Fi up in Los Angeles is interesting. All right. We're to bridge on what Mark was just talking about. We're doing a 5x5 initiative. And what we mean by that is, some of you may remember this in the other election cycles. We're asking you to contact 5 of your friends, family members in LD10. Them to go onto eQual and sign petitions. Like Martha said, we lost 2 weeks. Then the other ask is ask them to ask 5 of their folks to do the same thing. And then if they ask 5 more folks, that turns out that your 5 reach outs can get up to 125 people to go on equal and sign petitions. So on this card, we gave you a cheat sheet. Step 1 on equal is you go to the website. There is a QR code, there is a link to the website itself. You need your driver's license or your voter ID card and your social security number, I believe it is. Yeah, either or. And what will happen is then that takes you to the portal and then you select candidate petitions. You can go in and all the ones that you can sign are there available. Currently, if you go in and think you're gonna sign for the governor, she has gotten all of her signatures. Adrian Fontes has gotten all of his signatures, Secretary of our AG has gotten all her signatures. So the ones that still need signatures will be listed. So it's real easy. And then we also have clean election candidates. In this same portal, you can back out, do the same process going through the portal for qualifying contributions. And then everybody that's listed that is running for clean elections, like all of our legislative district candidates in the room who all need 5s. Our corporation commission candidates need 5s. And so it's very helpful. Now, you will see when you get in there, it's all clean elections candidates. So that means you're gonna see some Republicans. I'll leave that to your conscience. So we're trying to get you guys to activate your networks. And so this is why it's called 5 by 5. It's really easy. The person's gonna spend 10 minutes max on doing this. And we want them pressing ballot, right? So that's the task that we're gonna ask you to do. In the back of this, we gave you the election calendar revised. If you need to check your registration, it's this little QR. All right, any questions about that? All right. We're waiting on Rob. Oh, yes.
How many donations do candidates need?
So for, say, like legislative district candidates, they needed a buffer of about 225 $5 donations. And what I didn't talk about was what your $5 equates to for them in campaign funds. Every $5 they receive, they get on of campaign funds released to them. So it's really fantastic way to help support clean candidates.
I have one more question, sorry.
Sure.
And you can tell us whether you sign their petition, or you can do your donation, or you can only donate to candidates.
No, you can donate to candidates who haven't signed their petition, because there might be a whole slew of candidates, and then you still want to donate it to run it clean. So yes.
Thank you.
When I go on for this e-qual, the first step, are those just Democrats? I'm trying to get signatures.
It's only going to be who is associated with what would be in the area that you live in.
Okay,
so
no
it's-
sneaky Republicans.
No, there will be no secret Republicans. There might be some independents though.
Is there nice ones?
Yes, because we can sign independence petitions just like independents can sign our Democratic candidate positions.
And I was just gonna say, the minimum for the $5 donations, the minimum number is 220. The minimum number we're required to get is 225, legislative anyway, I don't know the others, but they tell us to get at least 240 because some will get lost. And so I personally was shooting for $240 to $250 of the $5 donations, just because you might some for errors.
All right, Robert, it's yours.
Great. Just trying to make sure we are. Oh, this is my section here. Yeah, why does LD10 come together? What's the value, which I just touched on a little bit. One of the things that when I moved out here about 4 years ago, occasionally I'd stumble across a fellow Democrat walking my dogs. And I would hear, and then I would continue to hear from people, I am the only Democrat here for 100 square miles. In fact, we have to go to California to find a Democrat. And I said, well, yes, there are twice as many Republicans than Democrats, but there are Democrats, and you can find them. But the best way to do it is to connect with your district. And they can give you a list of those people around you. And you can do two things. One, you can make a reach out to them or host a house party. Become a leader in your area by bringing them in. So that's what we're asking of everybody who is connected to us, is not to think of, I'll just wait for instructions, but it's to think like a leader, think like, frankly, an entrepreneur. How do I help other people with this sense of isolation? You're doing them a tremendous favor, because one of the important things is they can look at the media. We know how garbled that is. We know how confusing that is. But there's a lot of anxiety about that sense of isolation and disconnection. And particularly with the bad loss of 24, we all need to come together. And it's not just forming a political party, it's reinforcing a sense of shared values, a sense of community, but also a sense of culture that somehow we can connect and then pass these values on. We can connect and learn more from each other. So I think most everybody here gets this, or is already doing it. But it's something you can share with people. And if you're one of those people who says, well, I don't really know who's around me, contact us and we can help you make those contacts. It's very, I think it's the most important thing that we do as a community. You have your district board, your leadership up here. We're trying to organize that, make sure there's some operational structure and some education. So keep that in mind. One of the things that we're really working on right now, and Martha McCoy will come back and talk about that, is recruiting people to become Precinct Committee Persons. Now, it's legally Precinct Committeemen, but we like to say Committee Persons. This is the foundation of the Democratic Party. People asked to do exactly what I talked about with house parties, or you can do whatever's comfortable. But from this creates, it leads to the Maricopa County Party and then to the state. Frankly, I've never thought much about the upper levels. I've only thought about what I can affect at this level. But it puts you in a position, frankly, of being a politician. I know that's a dirty word, because you're actually elected to the office or you're appointed to the office. So it is a political office. I'm going to ask you to pay close attention to what Martha's asking you to do. We, the Democrats, have always been behind Republicans in filling out the number of seats that we have. So it takes a little bit of extra work, but then you'll be connected to the party structure. And if you're very ambitious, who knows what you can influence and affect. Yes, so that's, you'll be hearing about, Michelle will come back and talk about a very important educational seminar on March 21st. It's going to be fairly extensive, giving everyone, whether you become a precinct committee person, whether you're wanting to be a better candidate, volunteer, it's worth spending some time and learning the ins and outs of what it takes to just be more involved. And yes, I know there's always a demand, do this, do this. You also have to find your home and what's comfortable to you. Some people are very comfortable with canvassing, going door to door. Some people are not. The point is, you'll learn the structure, you'll learn some of the systems, and maybe you'll find that place that will give you the most productivity and efficiency. There's a couple techniques that we can share with you tonight that will help you feel more connected to the political structure, that is more connected to communicating with the legislature. You might think, what's the point of that? I'm a believer in just doing it and keep doing it and just not say there's a clear return to it. It's a system called return to speak, a request to speak. And it's how you can express your feelings about a particular bill that's coming up. We can show you that system. I won't go into it now. There's some detail to it. But sometimes it gives you a sense that, okay, I articulated my ideas, I brought them together. You know, if you want to vent, go ahead. But they do pay attention, even the Republicans, because the smart politicians want to know what the other side is thinking. They're going to totally ignore that, we know it, but it's good to say it anyway. It's good, again, to represent the community and our values to these people who are just getting worse and worse, but we've expressed ourselves. The other one is 5 calls, and it's a system, it's an app on the phone where you can look up, they'll give you recent important bills coming in front of, let's say, a congressman or a senator, and it gives you the phone number. And it's very, very fast. They give you a script. You can call Gallego, you can call Mark Kelly, you can call, depending on which congressional district you're in. Mark's, I'm going through all the Democrats. Mr. What's his name? That Biggs, oh God. I think that's his name, something about Biggs, he's terrible. Call his office. We have some business cards in the back that I'll pull out of storage. That's another technique. Any questions, the board is here to answer them. More experienced volunteers will also answer them. If we don't know the answer, we'll find out for you. So we're here to be of service. All of us board members, and there is a diversity of experience and talent here. And I'd like to take a moment just to acknowledge our board members. First of all, our first chair, Michelle McNeil. She takes care of communications and now education. We have sort of job descriptions, but they're very, very flexible. So if people have ideas, they go with them. It's that kind of board. I'd like to introduce our second chair, Martha McCoy. Who brings us an incredible resource in institutional memory. Because when she says, we did this 20 years ago, we realized, there was a community getting things done. But she has worked incredibly hard on setting up the drive to get more precinct committee persons, and is back there. If you have any questions or want to talk to her, she'll talk about that specifically. We have Jessica Gronberg, who was chair, just stepped down. Jessica stepped in to be district chair in 24 on an interim basis, and then it was turning into a permanent basis. And eventually, I thought it's not fair to Jessica, so I moved over from treasurer to chair. but she's incredibly valuable. She really is the shadow chair. She's constantly whispering in my ear, do this. You've got to do this. Frankly, I really appreciate it. Our secretary, Katrina Schaff. She's been incredibly valuable holding down a critical job, but she did something in 2024 that I still find amazing. That was your first campaign? That to do that, I practically had a meltdown just running for Senate, legislative Senate, and here she's doing all the very critical things you do for congressional office. You have my tremendous admiration for that. Mary Cossack, are you here? Mary's, and she has been one of our most productive volunteers. She divides her time with supporting Wisconsin and coming down here to help us. And I am so glad we have this person of energy and intelligence, just getting things done on this tremendously efficient way. So that's your board. And I'm Robert Doyle. I was treasurer. I have now moved into assistant bookkeeper because I can't be chair and treasurer, but I do all the responsibilities of treasurer. So I will finish here, and we will now go back to Michelle and talk about this very important educational seminar.
Thanks, Robert. Okay, you guys, so Robert just laid the foundation. 2024, we kicked ass out of all the LDs in the state. So, and a lot of people in this room were pivotal to that. So, but what we keep hearing, and we don't have time to do in our general meeting, is talk about what legislative district do. And so we're gonna do an educational seminar on March 21st. It's gonna be 4 hours. It'll have 4 sections. There'll be lunch provided. The registration is a sliding scale because we have to pay for facility and lunch. So, but nobody will be left behind if they want to come and participate. So what we're going to try to do is give you the information that we can't really give you in this setting. So what we're going to cover is how our local and state government connect, because that's always a big question. Then the role of the legislative districts in building power. And what we're going to do is have Emily Wilson come in and talk to you from a high-level strategic, data-driven kind of, it will be very informative because she is who gave us the blueprint for 2024. So she's going to come in and do that. And then Robert is going to lay out how that applies to LD10. So then we're going to talk about volunteer pathways for 2026 because we are in the election cycle and it is just going to get busier. There's going to be more things and we need to get and keep candidates on, we need them on the ballot and we need to get them into office. Then we're going to do the PC 101. This is going to build off of what Martha, Jessica, and Mary have already been doing with PC recruitment. We're going to take it to the next step. Obviously, we will allow people to become PCs at that time also. But we're going to talk about strategies that you can deploy within your precinct. And like I said, in between there, we're going to have lunch. There will be opportunities for candidates to come in and out. That's on the down low. No candidates heard that right now. And anyway, I think you will find it very informative and hopefully empowering because then you're going to really understand how we can continue to move forward. All right.
How can people sign up and register?
Oh, people can sign up. What we'll do is we just open up registration. There'll be an invitation going out in your email. We have a QR code at the back, and my printer and I had an argument today. So I think it's going to be out printed office. I hope. So, you know, technology is awesome. So anyway, Karen.
I noticed, I went to the site and I noticed they were pricing of tickets. Is that just basically a donation and get the same thing?
Yes. So basically, we're doing a tiered level of participation. And so if you're, you know, just a baseline contributor, then, you know, you're going to get all of it. But every contribution level that increases provides more resources for the LD function. Because you need to remember, we get no funding from the county. We get no funding from the state party. And I don't even think the DNC knows we exist. So we're reliant on our grassroots fundraising to support us and all your hard labor and enthusiasm. So, all right, any other questions? Yes,
What
Helen.
hours for this seminar?
It's gonna be from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Because we're gonna break for lunch. So it's this Saturday. And it's gonna be at the Mesa Multi-Generational Center in the Mesquite Room. So it'll be a nice big roomy room. Yes,
And there will be a cutoff date. I mean, can we register the last second
yes,
if we're still trying to get signatures? and-
absolutely.
That's before the review.
So on the down low, it's the 21st. We will be doing candidate standing out. And so if people need eyes, we'll be talking about that. But that's not that's not the main purpose of this meeting. But you are invited. You just don't know yet. So, all right, thanks, guys.
One of the things that I hope to develop in the future is getting reports from what our community is doing, aside from what might be connecting to the plans and structures that are set up here. So hopefully in the future we'll build in time for people to talk about other organizations that they work with and their boards on, so we have this sense of interconnection between organizations and this cross sharing of ideas and cross fertilization of ideas. So we're going to try that tonight. I'd like to invite somebody who helped me on my campaign in 2024 to give a report on a group that he's been quite involved with. James?
Thanks, that's a very nice introduction. Robert talked about how to engage and find your place, and sometimes it's with the party and sometimes it's with something else in your community. And I'm here just to talk a bit about something called Lutheran Day at the state capitol. It's February 23rd, Monday, 9:30 to 1:30, and it's hosted mostly by the ELCA Lutherans, which I like to call the woke Lutherans. We're kind of the liberal cousin of that group of religions, and it's a great day. We hear from leaders of the House and Senate. We hear from leaders of the Lutheran Advocacy Ministry Group, and then we visit reps. We have a group, last year we had a group of 6 or 8 of us from LD10 that visited with Farnsworth. And in the entire group, we had people from all over the state. We were able to visit with all but one rep from the 50-some legislative districts. So it's a big enough group that we get to visit with most everybody in the state. And we have bills that we support, and that's what we talk about with the reps. And most of them this time around have to deal with SNAP and also with free lunches and free meals at schools and school gardens and a produce incentive bill. I won't go through all of them, but know that this is a group that I'm part of because they have good progressive thinking people that participate. And I think it's important, if you are part of a church community that you believe is a progressive church community, find out if they have an advocacy group, because we know that there are other so-called religious groups out there on the right supporting not such justice-seeking candidates and supporting not such justice for all sort of political policies. So find a group, and like Robert said, if you have a group that you want to publicize in here, I'm sure we'd be happy to listen to you. So that's February 23rd, and you don't have to be a Lutheran. So join us. Thanks.
How can I connect with you?
You can look up Lutheran Advocacy Ministry of Arizona. And they have a website, and they have a Facebook page, and you can register for this seminar all day sort of thing at the Capitol. All right.
Well, I have to, my first response to hearing that was the Lutherans are miracle workers. They actually get to talk to our representatives and senators in the legislature. Just think about who doesn't get it to talk to them. So this is really great work. We're going to go through the legal business part of the meeting tonight. Firstly, we have to approve the minutes of the last meeting, and those were posted, Katrina, where?
They were shared with our emails that went out.
Okay, so I'd like to hear a motion that we approve the minutes for last.
Second.
We have an all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we'll go on to the assistant bookkeeper's report. Very simple. Our current cash balance is what? Oh, it's about $7,800. So that sounds like we're doing okay, and we are compared to a lot of districts. We need more as we go into the heart of campaigning coming up. And this educational seminar is going to require about $1,600 in cash outlay. So there's no guarantee we're going to recover that. But the board is very frugal, and do I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report, because that person couldn't be here? So moved. We have a second. We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. That was that. So now we come to really the heart of this meeting, and that's getting to hear from your candidates. And we're going to give each candidate about 5 minutes to talk, and then there'll be a couple, make it 2 questions afterwards, as we're running a little bit behind schedule. And it's an all educational night, which is great because public education is one of the most critical values that we support. And so the first person I'd like to hear from is Rachel Clawson, representing Save Our Schools, a very important Arizona. It's a group that I personally support and my business supports, so I'm really proud to be connected to them. Do you need this on this?
Yeah. Thank you. And I'll note, I'm actually also, I live in LD10, so it's always fun to come visit with you guys, because you're my community members too. I actually live in Tonto Precinct. If anybody's over in that area, very good. All right. And my name is Rachel Clawson. I am a former social studies high school teacher. I taught in Tempe Union High School District for 6 years. That's where I grew up. went through all Tempe schools, and actually, once I graduated with my teaching certificate, decided to go teach at my alma mater. So I actually got to teach social studies in the same classroom where I took social studies as a student, and loved it. But there came a time I was having a family, and it was just really, really hard to be a mom and be a teacher and also be an education advocate at the same time. So I decided to step away from the classroom. I was volunteering with a lot of organizations at the time, and Beth Lewis, Save Our Schools Arizona, reached out to me and asked if I would come on as an organizer. And so I have been with Save Our Schools Arizona since 2021. And I currently function in the role of digital organizing. Do a lot of the sort of back end database, emails, digital, all that sort of stuff. So I'm not usually like in front of the camera, but I do love doing presentations of this sort. So just a little bit about us as an organization. I know some of you are familiar with us. I'll note that Save Our Schools Arizona started from a group of parents and teachers in 2017 when the legislature and Governor Ducey tried to pass universal vouchers for the first time. And literally, a group of parents and teachers found each other at the Capitol building and said, we should do something about this. And around their dining room table, Googled, how do you run a referendum? And collected all the signatures, managed to get Prop 305 on the ballot, which of course in 2018 the voters voted down for a 2-to-1 margin. However, the will of the voters doesn't stop our legislature. So in 2020, 2022, before Governor Ducey's retired, they once again passed universal vouchers. And so we have been doing a number of things since then, mostly tracking the program and seeing what we can do to make it a more accountable and transparent system. We are a nonpartisan, community-based organization fighting for strong public schools to become stronger Arizona. I'll also note I have 3 kiddos in Mesa Public Schools. Actually, my 2 of my kiddos went to preschool right at Red Mountain Ranch, stone's throw away. And there are a lot of awesome volunteers and members of our staff who live right in this area. And so we do have what we call our community action teams. Those are our CATs for short. You are part of the East Valley North Community Action Team. And your coordinator, her name is Lita DeLeader, and she sends out regular emails about the things that are happening locally, as well as what's happening at the state level. So some of you may have heard there's, we filed some language for an initiative recently. And so I wanted to spend some time just giving you some information about that initiative. I'll note that a coalition of families and educators represented by Save Our Schools Arizona, as well as the Arizona Education Association, got together. We decided we wanted to create an initiative that reined in ESC vouchers while preserving flexibility for families of students with disabilities. Right now, that language is under a 30-day legislative council review, and that should be complete by March 8th. The legislature could pass these reforms if they wanted to. Our state legislature could do that, but they haven't added any guardrails to this program in 3 legislative sessions. So really all options are on the table at this point. So I'll note that since it's under a legislative review, there could be changes made before it is officially filed and we start collecting the signatures. So at this point, we don't have petitions in hand, we're not collecting signatures. Okay, so it does a few different things. It is a goal to prioritize child safety in voucher-funded schools and programs, minimize fraud, waste, and abuse of tax dollars, increase transparency in the voucher programs so taxpayers know how their dollars are used, rein in irresponsible spending, and put an income cap in place to ensure more responsible use of taxpayer funds, and then raise the bar when it comes to academic accountability in voucher-funded schools and programs. Okay, so we know that this is really just a critical first step to rein in what is now a $1 billion annually program to in the state of Arizona. And we are hoping that with this initiative, we can redirect unused funds to public school classrooms. So not only is the hope that we are able to rein in some of that, waste, fraud, and abuse, but that we can get it to our public schools. It was crafted with the input of ESA parents, as well as robust polling of the Arizona voters. It does target universal vouchers, but aims to protect pre-universal categories. So there were a number of categories of kids who qualified for vouchers before universal, and this does aim to protect those kids. The idea of it is to put the onus on the Arizona Department of Education, the State Board of Education, and private schools, not on parents. Okay, so what's kind of interesting about this is the number one thing, or one of the number one things we wanted to do was to increase safety for these kids. So the hope is that we can require voucher-funded schools to comply with basic safety standards like background checks, which don't currently have site safety regulations, like securing heavy machinery, being fire code compliant. You can literally set up a private school in your garage right now, and that's fine. Requires that teaching staff and personnel at voucher-funded schools have valid fingerprint clearance cards and be subject to discipline for misconduct. That is currently not the case. And then creates a trusted database for the Department of Education of qualified schools and tutors for ESA parents to reference. Now, what this initiative, the hope is, what it does not do is it does not impose new safety requirements on families, only private schools. Does not require private school teachers or tutors to go through the teacher certification process just to hold a valid fingerprint clearance card and be subject to discipline for misconduct. I keep doing that. There we go. All right, preventing fraud, waste, and abuse. The initiative will, we hope that it will, ban the use of ESA voucher funds for non-educational and luxury items. You may have seen some recent news stories about what some of those funds are being used for. It's to recoup unused funds yearly for critical needed dollars for public schools, adds transparency for voucher funds. It does not impact access to educational therapies, goods, or services for students with disabilities. Does not increase the amount of annual ESA voucher funding available for qualified students, and does not create more paperwork for ESA parents. All right, I think this is our last one. So, raising the bar for academic quality to support student success requires voucher-funded private schools to either administer similar assessments as public schools, because currently they don't, or be accredited by a qualified accrediting institution. Even if a qualified school chooses to administer assessments, the testing requirement does not apply to students with disabilities and does not apply to students who are home educated. Oh, just kidding. All right, refocusing the voucher program on families with the highest need. Caps eligibility for ESA voucher students who qualify under universal expansion at a family income of $150,000 or less, adjusted annually for inflation. and it does not cap eligibility for students with disabilities or students who qualified under other pre-universal expansion, and does not change eligibility for the vast majority of Arizona students. As only 5% of Arizona kids under 18 live in zip codes with a household income of 130,000 or higher. Okay, so timeline. As I said, we do not have signatures or petitions yet. We filed February 6th. The 30-day review is the 6th through March 8th. Our target petition launch will be March 9th through 13th. It will be sometime that week. We have from then until July 2nd to collect more than 250,000 signatures, because of course we need a buffer, so it's going to be closer to 500,000. So that is the signature requirement to get on the ballot, and then hopefully the voters will agree with us. So I'll note, if you would like to specifically help with this endeavor, you want to make sure that you keep up with us, that you pledge that you're going to sign, that you'd like to volunteer, that you'd like to be a notary. You can scan this QR code and fill in information there. It's literally just like your name and your email, and you can let us know how you want to volunteer. And yeah, or you could go to the bit.ly or the website bit.ly/protectedaz, and that is case sensitive, just so you know. Okay, I don't want to take too long. The initiative does do a lot. We're very excited about it. We feel very confident about where we're headed, and we know that the voters believe in public schools as we do. So, thank you. Oh, I can take a couple questions at a time. Yes.
The unused funds that would be redirected back into public education, are there families that don't use the whole amount of their vouchers, or?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
So there's actually Arizona, the Arizona Republic has gotten a couple of different reporting on it, that there's actually millions of dollars sitting in accounts that are just sitting there from year to year. You know, in individual cases, some families have more than $100,000 just sitting in their account. And what's interesting is that even if those families wanted to give that funding back to the state, there is no mechanism for them to do so. So this would create that mechanism, and then say, if you do not spend it all, you realize, hey, I don't need $7,000 to homeschool my kid or whatever it is, then you would return out those funds. Yeah.
Just for clarity, are charter schools private schools or public schools?
No, charter schools are publicly funded. Charter schools do not get vouchers.
Privately owned, basically.
Correct. Privately owned, publicly funded. Charter schools do not get vouchers. Correct. So this is just applying to private school settings or homeschool settings. Any other questions? Yeah.
Just to be clear, so the children are being taught by people that don't have a background check, don't have fingerprinting, and then the kids aren't tested to see that they're coming up to minimum anything?
Well, I'll tell you that we don't know, because that's not required by law. So they could be, but we don't know. Yeah.
Can you just clarify that you don't need any qualification
Don't
to
have
be
to
a
be a
teacher
teacher.
for this program? You need a pulse.
Yes. Yeah, you don't need a teaching certificate.
You don't need to graduate high school.
Yep, right.
You don't need to be literate.
Correct. Just as we have done with other professions, we have really lowered the standard here. Yeah.
So, hi, I'm Allie. I'm gonna go off of and expand on what you just said. I tried to put my child in the ESA program, and I know firsthand exactly what you're talking about. It rolls over every single year. Parents that have multiple students will get upwards of $1,500 per child per quarter. And that is dosed out 4 times. And if you do not spend those funds on those children during that time, it rolls over to your account the next time. So the longer that you are in homeschool, the longer that account builds up. And no, there is no checks. Anyone can literally build a school in their garage. No, absolutely. You just, oh, a good faith, you're gonna teach my kid this math. And so this mom decides that since she's got 4 kids, she's gonna create this classroom. And lo and behold, she's got this, and this background, and you've just trusted and left your kids there for 2 to 3 hours.
And
So no, there's no checks.
thank you, I appreciate that. And I want to emphasize just a couple of things, right? As a public school parent and a former public school teacher, I have seen what the lack of funds have done to our public schools, despite how much I believe in them and how much I love our teachers and how much I love our school community. I see how much they struggle and how they're able to do with such limited resources. But when it comes to this program, what is really unnerving is what is happening to these kids. We don't know. We're not tracking. The legislature won't allow any sort of data to come in about how these kids perform. And so it's just, and if anything else, it's like, can we just keep kids safe? Like maybe raise that bar just a little bit. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and I'll be here. So happy to continue the conversation.
Thank you, Rachel, for educating us on a very important organization. Our next education-related candidate, we will actually hear from 2 candidates for the Mesa School Board. Now those races are non-partisan, but so we don't identify them as Democrat or really any party, but we know where you belong. We know where you're at. So first, if Josh Chilton, if you could talk to us about yourself for 5 minutes, and then we'll have 5 minutes of questions.
Sounds great. I'm going to do something I don't normally do, and I'm going to try to time myself here. So there we go. Thank you all for having me today. It's so great to see so many familiar and friendly faces. My name is Chilton. I'm running for Mesa School Board, or governing board for Mesa Public Schools. And before I really get into it, I do need to say something about LD10, because this is a place that really means a lot to me. First off, you to Robert, Michelle, Martha, all you guys have supported me. Thank you. You built up LD10 to being the strong Democratic enclave that it needs to be. And it's an uphill battle, I'll tell you what. But I also want to follow up on what Rachel said. Save Our Schools. I ran 2 years ago. It was my first time ever getting involved in politics, and I wasn't really sure what to expect. Save Our Schools, Lita, Rachel, really supported me in going out there. And the work that they're doing right now is she talks everything about vouchers. Everyone needs to know this. Everyone needs to know how much money is going into the pockets of just average citizens with no accountability on what is happening to the students. And I think that's the reason why I have really gotten into public education, because I'm a dad of a 7th grader in Mesa Public Schools. I believe in public schools if public schools have the resources to be able to provide education to our children. And unfortunately, there's people who are getting in the way of just simple things like being able to get the resources out to teachers so they can use them in classrooms. Simple things like being able to empower teachers to make connections, be human beings, not just teachers, and build personal connections with students that enable them and empower them to learn the way that they need. So that's one of the reasons why I'm here, but I do have to say something about vouchers and again about LD10. This is the year for you in particular to get involved in politics right here in East Mesa. And the reason why is because we all know what's going on in the world right now. We all know what people are talking about. Democrats are getting fired up and they're ready to step out and get more involved. Republicans are beginning to question some of the choices that they've made. Independents are beginning to question what's going on in the world. If there's a chance and a time for us to take back the state legislature and make an impact, it's right now, and it needs to happen in surprise areas. Not surprise, but I'll say unexpected areas. And when we talk about vouchers, when she talks about vouchers, I would love to say that you put me on the school board, I'll be able to do something about that. I absolutely cannot. There is nothing that we can do on the governing board of a public school district to do anything about the funding that's being taken away from public schools. That's going to come in the state legislature. People like Blair, people like Brian, and the people who are running for state house and state senate, they are the ones. If we flip 5 seats, you can actually make the changes in the legislature without having to go through the initiative process and all of that. That's all we're waiting for. We're waiting for Democrats to step up and make a change. So please make my job easier on public school by getting Democratic representatives into the House and State Senate so that we can make some of these changes, all right? Now, I know I've used about 3 minutes to talk about things that aren't me, but I thought that was really important. As for myself, I mentioned I'm a dad in the district. Previously, I worked for the Maricopa County School Superintendent's Office. That was my first real experience in education. For 6 years, I worked to get resources directly out to teachers all throughout Maricopa County. If you haven't heard my speech before, how many school districts do you think are in Maricopa County? Any guess? I know you know, Laura, you know. 58. There are 58 individual school districts in Maricopa County alone. Mesa Public Schools is the largest with 55,000 students. That is a big area to cover. I'm happy to show you that map on my little clipboard here. But I think we all know that learning is not the same as it was back when we were in school. You know, jobs are not the same as they were back when we were in school. We need to prepare students in a different way. That means preparing them for tech jobs, for trade jobs. As Courtney Davis, our board president, used to say 2 years ago when we were running, AI is not going to unclog your toilet. We need people who learn the skills that are going to be able to help propel Mesa's economy, build us up. We're attracting all of these great businesses to Mesa right now. But you know where those employees are coming from right now? California, from overseas, from other areas that aren't in Mesa. Because I'll tell you, I looked up, there's a website called cyberseek.org. It shows how many jobs are currently available in IT alone. Last I checked, there was about 9,000 jobs going unfilled in Maricopa County because there weren't enough local students coming out of high school and college prepared to take these jobs. We need to expand in Mesa Public School our ability to do that. And we're doing a great job right now. I will say there's a lot of steps that are being taken. Career academies, I won't explain them right now, talk to me afterwards, are a thing that like my daughter's learning from right now. There's a class she's taking called Future Possibilities. This 12-year-old is learning how to make PowerPoints in school. It's not, knowing the Pythagorean theorem isn't enough in the jobs today. I need someone who can do a presentation, who can talk to a client, who can write an email without using ChatGPT, you know? So these are things that we're doing, but we need to expand. Someone mentioned Red Mountain Ranch, which is, if you don't know it, you have an amazing school over here. It's a K-8 STEM school. What that means is that they teach the normal math, science, everything, you know, in English, but they connect it to projects. So you don't just learn the theories, you're putting them into practice as early as kindergarten and first grade. I'll tell you a great story. I went to Franklin Accelerated Academy. Another option, it's not, you know, but then there's schools that you can opt into. Franklin Accelerated Academy, great. It's all memorization and just raw book learning. My daughter's a little free-spirited for that. After 7 years there, it's been a challenge. I would love to send her to Red Mountain Ranch over here. My problem, I live in the other side of Mesa, over in Dobson Ranch. It's 20 miles if I want to get my daughter to the one STEM school that we have in Mesa Public School District. We need to expand those options. And I'm happy to say, I've just served a year on the boundary committee. It's called PABDAC. I couldn't even tell you everything that it stands for. But in any case, we looked at the boundaries of the schools, and we actually redistricted a couple schools so that we could change one school into a Franklin Accelerated High School. All that means to you is that these students who have been doing this accelerated program for 7, 9 years, all the way up to 8th grade, they had no place to go once they graduated 8th grade. And you know where they went? They went to charter schools, they went to Chandler, they went to Gilbert. We lose about 2,300 students a year to Gilbert Public Schools. We take in about 800 students a year from Gilbert into Mesa. We need to do things different to get student counts up, which then increases our funding. All right, so I will say it all comes about from change. And one last thing, well, I have so much more to say, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. Careers, that's a big part of what I stand for. Creating opportunities for success after high school, college, career, community. We want students to live happy lives. That's what I want. That's all I want, is that when my daughter graduates high school, she knows what she wants to do, and she has the opportunity to do it here in Mesa and move forward. And the other big thing is safety. Safety comes in many, many forms. Keeping guns out of school. Obviously, that's an important one. Keeping drugs out of school. Keeping vaping out of school. I'm the husband of someone at the American Heart Association, so that one's like deep and dear to me. I never thought I would have said it 2 years ago, but keeping ice out of schools is something that it's important to say it, Brian, I'm not talking about warm drinks, being mandatory. I'm talking about immigration and customs enforcement, which ties into the other thing I want to keep out of schools, which is judgment. Look, it is hard to be a student. I know right now the stuff that my daughter's going through, and look, she's pretty popular. She's not doing great on her grades right now, but she has things that she's worried about. She's worried about other students judging her. She's worried about the student that just passed away due to a drug overdose in her school. She's worried about the boy that she likes, his apartment just burned down, and his entire family is in critical care. We don't know what these families, these kids are going through on a day-to-day basis. You know what they don't need? They don't need the community judging them based on who they are, what they look like, what their background is. I walked around 2 years ago on a tour of some of the other candidates, one of whom is now on the board. And one of their biggest concerns to me was pride flags on doors. We can't have a decal of a pride flag on a classroom door. They said, Josh, you can't have a pride flag. That is an ideological flag. You wouldn't want to have the Nazi flag behind the teacher's desk. I said, well, I really don't recommend that you compare the pride flag to a Nazi flag. Those are not at all. But I asked teachers, I talked to a number of teachers and said, would you put a pride flag or a pride sticker on the door? And they said, absolutely. The reason why is not because I necessarily believe in it or because I'm trying to push it on anybody. It's because that sticker might resonate with one of my students in the class. And I need to show them that my classroom is a safe space for them to come to speak to me about anything that might bother them. I am not a teacher, or I can't just be a teacher in their eyes. I need to be a human being. I need to have pictures of my family. I need them to know what my interests are. I need them to trust me inherently. And we, as a school board in Mesa, need to get out of the way and let teachers teach so that they can inspire our students. And that's what I'm really running to try to make happen. So, again, I'm sure my phone already turned off, so I'm sure I went over my 5 minutes. All I'll give you is a couple things. One, my name is Josh Chilton. We are not collecting fives because we are not equal and we are not on the clean election. So everything that we get, we have to either pay for ourselves or ask for donations. So as much as you're willing to donate to my campaign, would be a huge help. $5, $10, $20 will buy me one big 4x4 sign. That would be great. If you go to chiltonformesa.com, you can go to my website and make a donation there. I mentioned we're not unequal, as you heard from Jason as well. We cannot get your signatures online. We have to get them on pieces of paper that we carry around with us. So back there, 3 candidates, there are 2 seats available for Mesa Public Schools. There are 3 candidates that are running that I think you'll agree with. There's 4 candidates in total. But we have 3 good candidates that are back there, and I'm one of them. So I hope that you like me enough that you'll sign my position. And then you can pick between the other 2. But please sign us. We need to get 400 signatures by the time, we've got until June, so I've got a little bit of time. But those are the 2 big things I want. And lastly, just to bring it back to LD10, please, please, please get involved with LD10. Get involved in your precinct. Out here, this is make or break for us public education, for us governing board members, because the Democrats, we also extend into LD9. We have a bit more support there, but it's here in LD10 we have the most difficult time trying to convince people. Who here is in a 55+ community? And how many of your neighbors said, well, I don't have kids in public schools anymore, so it doesn't affect me. That's what we're up against right now. We need you going door to door, or don't even go door to door. That's a lot of walking. Just talk to your friends, call them, text them, do whatever, and just say, hey, can you let them know that we've got some candidates and you need to vote for Mesa Public Schools. All right. I took up most of my time. Thank
you. We do need to move on, so if you have any questions, you can save them afterwards, or they might be answered by another candidate. I'm so sorry to cut off the dialogue, but we need to move along because we're limited the amount of time we can be here. Our next candidate is also running for the Mesa Schools Governing Board, and that is Jason Smithson. There, I got it. And so I only want to say one thing about the school board election. We know that Turning Point is targeting school boards. They're targeting the Salt River water district. You might have already seen the sign. They're going after city council positions. So there's this threat looming over all of us. So this is not just a school board position. This is a battleground.
Just want to say, first of all, thank you guys for having me out here. My name is Jason Smithson, and I'm running for Mesa School Board. I am a father of a 7-year-old son who has autism, and he attends a Mesa public school. I'm a small business owner. I'm a special needs advocate, particularly with our ELL community, which I do 100% for free because I believe that we have a disproportionate study system within our brown and black community, which is absolutely unacceptable to me. That's one of the things that I'm very passionate about, and I want to correlate to these families that how they can follow policies, laws to make sure that their students are able to be set up for success. Because unfortunately, with IEPs, with FAPE, with IDEA, it's a lot of policies, laws, red tape that we're cutting through that unfortunately not too many families understand. My son is at a school that is 81% Hispanic, and it has the highest homeless student population in the entire district. They have 66 students out of 588 students that are experiencing homelessness. I'm the only parent on our PTO, and we're lucky to raise $2,500 in a year for our PTO. So the big question, why am I running for school board? And the simple answer is my son. I attend school board meetings regularly. I speak at school board meetings regularly, and I am not afraid to hold our school board members, and our superintendent, Dr. Strom, accountable. But one thing became evident, that special needs parents are not represented. Special needs parents do not have a voice. And it's problematic because 20% of Mesa Public School students have some sort of accommodation. That's roughly 11,000 students that aren't represented, that don't understand the policies and the laws. We have school board members that, while they're great, they don't understand IDEA. They don't understand FAPE. They don't understand IEPs. And it breaks my heart because I see so many families struggling and just getting by. It breaks my heart that our teachers, especially our gen ed teachers, are set up to fail. They have 30, 35, 40 students in their classroom. They're given 4 or 5 kids on IEPs, but they have no help. They have no IAs, so they're having to teach a class with their students, but also focus on these IEPs, and they have no training. They don't know how to write IEPs. So one of the things that I'm working with the school board and with Dr. Strom is to create a training for our gen ed teachers and also our SPED teachers, because if you're not aware, Mesa Public Schools has decided to remove all 25 of the special education or special education behavioral coordinators. So they've gotten rid of all of the help that our SPED students, our SPED teachers need. And instead they decided to put in 15 learning coordinators that have 0 special education experience. I'm gonna tell you right now, this a failure waiting to happen. I've talked to teachers, I've talked to principals, the data is not there. But Dr. Strom will tell you the data is there and that no one utilized these SPED coaches. Absolutely not. I'm just very brokenhearted by what's happening with this reorganization. In the beginning, I thought it was a good idea, but we're losing so many good teachers. We're losing so many good instructional assistants, and it's frustrating, and it can't keep going on. And so my hope, and what I believe sets me apart from everybody else, is that I fight every day for my son. I fight every day for the community, and I will fight every single day for every single student within Mesa Public Schools. I will fight every single day for every parent, for every teacher, because we do better. The district is going on a downward trajectory. Right now, next year, they're gonna be $18 million in the hole. They got $1.7 billion in infrastructure repairs that need to be replaced because they keep pushing it down the road. This is unacceptable. We cannot let this happen. Public schools is the fundamental foundation. I'm a product of public schools, and it irritates me that legislature and our government is pushing more private and charter schools. We need to focus on public schools. We need to get back to basics, and that's where I am. So I'm not gonna sit up here and ask you guys for a dime, because I know how important and how hard you guys work for your money. So until I can tell you that I 100% will be on the ballot, I'm not gonna ask you to donate to me, and I'm going to do this out of my own pocket because that's the type of person and I am. And before my grandpa passed away, since I was little, he always taught me that integrity is the biggest thing. So I ask you not to judge me by my words, but by my actions and what I do. So thank you guys very much. Sure. So you guys can sign for me. There's petitions in the back. Obviously, we can't use equal. There is a measure on the ballot, and hopefully school board members are going to be allowed to. It usually gets voted down. I don't know why, but my petition's in the back. You can also, I have some cards in the back. You can visit my website and get as much information about me as you want to. So,
Which website?
It is jasonformesaschools.com.
Thank you, Jason. And of course, you can speak to him individually after this meeting. Next, we'll go on to Dr. Laura Metcalf, who we know from 2 years ago when she ran for Mesa's superintendent of schools.
County school superintendent.
County school superintendent. Thank you. They're all blending together.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. I am Dr. Laura Metcalf, and I am running for re-election for the East Valley Institute of Technology School Board. Does anyone know what East Valley Institute of Technology School Board does? Got some hands in the back. All right, really quickly, we are what's called a career and technical education district. And what that means is we offer the opportunity for adults and high school students to earn industry recognized certifications, externships, jobs, and experience in the trades, such as automotive, such as medical, such as welding, such as, let's see, what other?
Culinary.
Culinary, give me some. That's right, all of it. All of it for free, all of it for free. And I was a teacher there and I enjoyed it every minute of it, but they closed my program, but that's okay. I ran for the board. All right, so at this point in time, we offer the opportunity for someone who is 18 years old to graduate with an ASE certification in automotive. They're gonna make $86 an hour. 18 years old. This one's got 4 college degrees. I'm never making $86 an hour. Which leads me to my next point. I have been in education for the last 31 years. I have done everything. I have cleaned toilets. I am a principal right now. I've been a teacher. I was a business teacher. I'm a director. I was a special education director. And I ran for the Maricopa County School Superintendent's Office, where I worked as the small schools administrator, where I went out to rural schools in Western Maricopa County, and I was the lunch lady out there. I helped do curriculum and development for Gila, help me out, Josh. Not Gila, where am I going? West.
Oh, West,
Sentinel and others out there. Let's just go with that route. Okay. So, how many of you ever been on the way to LA? And you stopped in Gila Bend. That's it. I worked out there too. I did everything they needed. So here's what we're going to do. East Valley Institute of Technology has an opportunity to be able to bring pre-apprenticeship programs to high school students and adults. We are pushing that down to high school students now so that they can go into pre-apprenticeship programs before they graduate from high school. Because the research shows that when a high school student is connected to a program while in high school, the matriculation levels are higher rather than graduating from high school, figuring out what they're going to do, then trying to do it. They're already doing it. And we are working on that right now. That is what I am pushing right now as a re-elected candidate for East Valley Institute. All right, so most of us run on a shoestring. Yes, having been your candidate for the Democratic Maricopa County School Superintendent, I have no problems asking for money. Please, I'd love some money. That would be great. But we don't have equal. We have paper. So if you are interested in signing this petition, because this is my district, please, I'm going to pass this around. And there's one in the back as well. Anybody want to start? Going once. There we go, right here. I got a pen for you and everything. All right. Thank you very much. My website is LAURAFOREVIT, lauraforevit.com. And that is where you will find more about me. And I am more than happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much. Someday. Thank you, though.
Thank you, Laura, for that.
You're more than welcome.
And before we go on, I do want to acknowledge one thing that I forgot to do earlier. We have other candidates here that we don't have time, or they've spoken to us before. So I'd like, let's see, Brian Calloway is running for House representing LD10. Stand up, Brian. Is Helen Hunter still here? There she is in the back. Okay, no free political advertising. It's not a cut to me. Blair Moses is running for state senate. guarantee you, she's a lot better than the guy who ran for us last time. And we have Justin, Pop. He's seeking 5.
Replace Andy Biggs.
To replace Danny Biggs. So thank you for being here. Is there any other candidate that I overlooked? Okay, before we go into the 5, the raffle ticket, which I did not have this time, I'd like to come back to Martha McCoy.
I just can't help myself. We can literally donate to any of the candidates on that list. This is a donation envelope.
Those are not for 5s. I did them for that.
No.
Oh, okay.
If you want to donate to Josh or Mr. Poff, I have $200 in change. We will accept cash. We can put it in an envelope and you can give to them tonight. I need to see the following people for PC stuff. Benjamin Johnson of Bloom County, or Bloom Precinct. Claudia Bloom and Elizabeth Holmes in Falconfield. Oh, okay. Sherry Traxler in Lovewell. Jim Meltzer in Painted Mountain. And Louis DeBruin. Do you know if he's still around? I suspect that he's not. Miranda Green in Tonto. And I have paperwork for you. I haven't been able to get to you guys because I've been so busy. Also, I'm an analog girl in a digital world. I understand paper petitions and paper contributions. So I have contribution forms and change for those who are allergic to the computer like me. So there's no reason to leave without getting the Mesa School Board candidates their petitions signed and donate your vibes. Thanks.
If PTCs want to go walk the roads, I'll go out with you.
And don't forget the best way to go door to door is with golf carts. If you have a golf cart, contact me.
Yes.
I noticed on the upcoming events, the next No Kings protest on March 28th is not listed, so make a note of that on your calendars. I believe that Chandler Municipal is doing something. I don't know about Mesa, but what was that?
Mesa Indivisible or Valley Mesa Indivisible has not posted anything as of yet.
I noticed that, but we've got Tempe, Cold Bridge, we've got AJ, we've got Chandler, those places around, so just check your social media and let everybody know.
Yes, that was going to be mentioned. We're going to go through the events right now. That will be at a park in Chandler. That's the only, no Chandler, March 28th at 10 a.m. at 439 North Coronado. That you can find that on Mobile Wires. I'm not going to go through these events. You can read them. I will emphasize a couple things. One is Red Mountain Library, the 21st and 28th. We need volunteers to help us gather more petitions. On Wednesday, 25th, we're having a happy hour, trivia and politics happy hour. We're doing it in conjunction with LD9, which is the west half of Mesa, and LD14. So this is one of the first events that brings together 3 different districts, and we're hoping to get some of that cross-fertilization of ideas, just knowing what our fellow Democrats are doing. That will be at Papa Bear's. Uncle Bear's, okay. What street's on? It's on Greenfield, Uncle Bear's on Greenfield, please join us. And then our next meeting will be March 17th at 5 to 7. We're going to determine the location later on. We're a bit of migrate. So let's do the 50-50. Sure.
Before we get to the 50-50, sorry, as some of you may know, our former representative in the legislature, Justin Heap, and the Board of Supervisors have been feuding. The Board of Supervisors, as of yesterday, were united in their fight against Justin Heap. And they may remove Justin Heap tomorrow. Call, I don't have a lot of information. Our representative on the Board of Supervisors is Tom Galvin. We're in District 2. Look him up tomorrow and call him and say that you support removing Justin Heap as the Maricopa County reporter. The Republicans are doing a big rally tomorrow afternoon, and they want to flood the meeting. If Justin Heap doesn't show up tomorrow, the Board of Supervisors is threatening to remove him or had been united against removing him. So please call Tom Galvin tomorrow.
So real quick, are you saying that the Republicans are going to flood the meeting to keep him?
Yes.
So we're gonna flood the meeting to get him out? Yeah,
It's tomorrow. It's the regular Board of Supervisors meeting, I think.
What's the address for anybody able to go?
I'm looking at it on my phone. So again, it's just something I want people to be aware of and to please contact Tom Galvin tomorrow.
Michelle. So I want to ask, if they're going to remove him, who are they going to replace him with?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
But, yeah. So sorry it's not, I don't have a ton of information, but just wanted to make everyone aware that this is happening. Okay, now we can do a drawing.
Thank you for that breaking news update from the LD10 News Department. So who's going to pick the ticket? I've been known to fix raffles in the past. So see, I'm not picking you.
All right. I'm gonna read the last 4 numbers. It's 6112. This is a conundrum. Very nice. Okay, so everybody very nicely donated $245. So that means you get $123. And it's gonna be at the back desk. Oh, okay. So, okay.
Well, thank you for being here tonight.
Okay, last thing, I promise. So we have some open board positions. Robert talked to you about that he's currently wearing 2 hats. He's the chair and he's the bookkeeper. We have a position open for treasurer. Martha McCloy has also very nicely told us that she's stepping back as of May of this year. So her position
will be opening. So we are looking for people to come join us on the board and come talk to us about it, all right? Thank you.
Thank you for that reminder. Just think how easy it is to rise to this power of position and glamour. So very quickly, you get to it by showing up. That's how I've gotten to make politics to where I am today. Thank you very much. Spend time talking with people, getting to know them, talking to the candidates who took their time to be with us tonight. We'll see you in 1 month.
Thank you, Robert.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor? I'm so sorry.